Welcome Mr. Terrence Highfield. As a summer student in college, Mr. Viale was granted the opportunity to launch a summer job that led to an every weekend job with Pan American Airlines. It is with this company that he met Mr. Terrence Highfield. Mr. Highfield was his boss, his mentor, and later became a friend. Mr. Highfield, an inspiration, a critical and analytical thinker, guided Mr. Viale every step of the way. To this day, Mr. Viale is grateful for all the shouts he got when he did wrong, for all the reprimands he got when he did wrong, because it made him into a much more disciplined and focused young man. Mr. Highfield, Mr. Viale thanks you for this. Today, both Mr. Highfield and Mr. Viale remain very close personal friends. Welcome, Mr. Highfield.
It's wonderful to be in a room with like-minded people. And I look around and I see a formidable force. I see the Figueroa family and I see the Viale family. And I see people who support Kurt like I do. And with that much said, I would just like to make a few comments that I do know when you graduate from high school, 1982. And I know a lot more too. Sometimes it's difficult to satisfy the true passion until the time is right or a gentle nudge comes along. Is it the right time for Kurt, or was there a gentle nudge? I think I can add to the gentle nudge. Among us today is one of Kurt's high school teachers. She has told me that Kurt, at the time, and probably 1981, was an excellent student and a natural leader. I know that is a fact because that woman, the teacher, was my wife, affectionately known as she who must be obeyed. My wife. I'm not a polished speaker, by the way. I'm too modest to tell you exactly what I'm good at. As an aside, I would like to say that there are very few people in this audience that have touched as many people as Kurt has. When you think of the 22 years he spent in education, and I would like to add some things to that. When Kurt was in college, which would have been 83, 84, 85, 86, probably in 85, he applied for a job for a position in St. Thomas. And I knew Kurt, and I knew what my wife had said about him, and I wasn't disappointed. And he worked full-time and went to school full-time that last year. He exceeded all of our expectations as an employee. And I know that as a fact because I worked with him and I never shouted at him once, contrary to what has been said. I got some words thrown at me sometimes, but I never shouted at him. If I did, I apologize profusely. Now, at the time, Kurt was a young man who had aspirations, and I felt one day he would run for high office, and I think this is a step towards the high office that he'll eventually have. I felt that way, and we've talked about it. And when you look around and you see the depth of the Figueroa and the Viale family, you can realize that there is a lot of networking going on. Now, what everybody else talked about is true, and I know what the things that I'm saying are based upon what I know about Kurt before he became a meteorite in our political midst. After 22 years as an educator, a principal, and community leader, we know him as a thoughtful and tough when necessary. I know that as a fact, and I think everybody here knows that he's capable of doing what has to be done. And we also know that what you saw coming in here, that's what gets people elected. An organization that doesn't leave anything out. Now, he is a mathematician, and that's what brings this to the forefront. Everything is thought out He looks at things different than what we do. You know, when you're a genius, you have to take into consideration the people you're around. And I know this, we were lucky to have him when he was with us, and each one of us will be lucky to have him as our senator in this next election. Kurt, thank you very much.